What's up, fam? I'm Michael Smith. He's Michael Holly. Welcome to Brother from Another, or the best of Brother from Another. And let me tell you, that's a really challenging endeavor. I mean, Michael, we spend 2 hours a day, 3 to 5 Eastern, 5 days a week on Peacock TV, having what we like to think are pretty interesting conversations and exchanges. To narrow that down to one best of show, whoo, man, you know it's about to be flames.
It's going to be challenging. We don't have short conversations. I think we have conversations that have some impact. We'll let you be the judge. Enjoy what you see here. I'm going to borrow a quote from Mike Tomlin from a couple weeks ago, where he said, I love how Mike Tomlin uses the language, where he said, we make no excuses, we seek no comfort. Okay? Anyway, I love it. But he didn't want to make excuses. They were talking about injuries, all this stuff. But I am going to make excuses. I'm going to make excuses for everybody, every pro athlete during this time, and every organization that tries to act like this is normal. Like everything we see is normal. So I know we're playing games. And I know once the games start, it doesn't matter if COVID is happening. It doesn't matter if you haven't practiced, if everything is different, if you haven't met all your teammates, if some new terminology has been put in, you haven't been able to practice. I know that doesn't matter to people watching the games at home. Everybody's watching the games at home. But it does matter in the big picture. I think it's stupid. Can I be blunt? I think it's stupid to make a decision on your franchise quarterback in the most unusual year, in the most unusual season of probably the last 50 years. And so and the Philadelphia Eagles aren't the only franchise that has done this. Franchises have done this throughout sports. Oh, wait a minute. This season's a little disjointed. I don't understand what's going on. Fired. I'm going to move on. Well, can we factor in like the environment? Could some other things be going on here? Does Carson Wentz need to practice more than the average quarterback? Do you think that might be better for him? You think some of the things that we've seen here in the last 3 or 4 months have affected the quarterback? Look, it's cool because, as I said yesterday, it's not Carson, it's them. And if they want to move on from Carson Wentz, it's a mistake, and they'll pay that price one day. They'll pay the price.
So, all right, because I want to be fair. I'm a fair man. I want to be fair. He leads the league in interceptions with 15.
That? You want to retract it?
No, I'm not retracting it. I'm not retracting the damn thing. If he leads the league in interceptions with 15. All right.
Don't bring that Greg Williams stuff here. Retract it.
Truth be told, Michael, I don't even think about Sam Darnold and Drew Lock. But technically, if you're a statistics guy, because I just don't. Okay, I just don't. But
Daniel Jones?
Statistically,
I mean, come on.
Statistically, Carson Wentz, the lowest rated quarterback in the NFL is Drew Lock. The second lowest rated quarterback is Sam Darnold. The third lowest rated quarterback in football is Carson Wentz. So I beg your pardon, okay? In terms of completion percentage, if you're in there, I don't know, completing passes, Drew Lock has the lowest completion percentage in the league at 55.4. Carson Wentz has the second lowest completion percentage in the league at 57.4. So
how about touchdown passes? How about touchdown passes?
Listen, okay, we can nitpick this all we want. He's been awful. How about that?
I don't care about quarterback.
He's been awful.
I don't care about
quarterback. He's been awful. You want to go QBR?
Okay.
Do you believe? Okay. You want to do QBR?
Made up stat.
I'm trying to get you. Just mentioned touchdown passes. That's a stat too. They're all stats. Okay.
Okay, but some of them matter.
However you want to slice it.
Because
however you want to slice it, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
He's one of the worst quarterbacks
arguing that
in the league this year.
But we agree. But hold on. But we agree. We agree. It's not all his fault. He's not the solution, but he's not the source of the problems. That's an awful roster. It's an awful roster, and it's making him worse, is my point. So the reason you bench him is for his own good. As bad as he's been, I do believe this is for his own good, to pull him out of this situation rather than watch him deteriorate week by week, trying to play through a bad situation. So, Michael, you've been married. I've been married for 15 years, which means you've been married for 14 years.
13.
13, I beg your pardon.
13 years.
Good job. Good job. I was testing you. That's a good job right there.
Come on.
That's
Come
good.
on,
That's
man.
good.
Don't try to
That's
get me in
good.
trouble.
That's good. You was quick on your feet. That's
13.
good job.
July
Okay.
14th, 2007.
So, first rule when it comes to your lady or any relationship, you got to know them. You got to know their love language. You got to know what they like and what they don't like. Probably more important to know what they don't like than what they do like.
Tell me
You know?
about it. Ooh.
And I think it's pretty clear that Carson Wentz doesn't quite react well. I'm not saying this is the only reason, but you're not making him feel good, no matter how highly compensated he is contractually. No matter how many picks you gave up to get him, Howie Roseman. He doesn't like having somebody, he don't like having a wandering eye. You know, like in some relationships, you could look at a woman, like, you know, some relationships you can watch, you can watch Megan Thee Stallion and be like, oh man, you know, she fine.
Man.
And your wife
what.
is okay with that. Your wife's
That's
okay
like
with
the
that.
second or third. That's like the second or third time you mentioned her in the last week.
Is it?
So
Is it?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this ain't no coincidence.
Anyway.
Okay, some relationships, you can get away with that.
Some relationships you can
And
do
some
that.
you
Other
can't.
relationships, you just know that's not the way to roll. Like it makes them uncomfortable. Even if it's not a real threat, it just makes them uncomfortable. So first mistake that the Eagles have made, and we've talked a lot about, you know, the offensive line, the receivers, even the play calling, but the first mistake is they didn't quite know their quarterback. And you can't take a quarterback in the second round, and not just any quarterback, a high-profile Heisman candidate quarterback in the second round, and expect Carson Wentz to feel comfortable, to feel the love. Again, no matter how much money he got, there's a level of subconscious and unspoken insecurity attached to him. He's already been through the Nick Foles situation. You let Nick Foles walk and chose Wentz over Foles, so you already did that. And for you to pick a quarterback in the second round, a high-profile quarterback, not only, Michael, did they not know their quarterback, and I got more, but I'm going to get back to you. Not only did they not know their quarterback, they didn't know the environment. Bro, this is Philadelphia. I mean, look how excited Jason Johnson just was about the Wentz show. Tyler Tynes from The Ringer been talking about Carson Wentz with us all year. Okay? And now so this has been a long time coming. The moment they drafted him, they should have known that at some point the noise is going to get too loud to where it got not only into Carson Wentz's ear, but into his head. Now, again, I'm not saying the guy's fragile, and I'm not saying that if you're an organization, look, I don't even want to make excuses for the guy, because look, there's something to be said. Some quarterbacks, like an Aaron Rodgers, okay, if I can compare them just to say this, you draft his heir apparent in the first round, he goes on to have an MVP season. Okay, he makes you look like you're least to the pick.
But he also didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
But he reacted differently. Maybe there's something to be said for a quarterback to be able to handle this better than we think Carson Wentz is handling it. And I'm playing armchair psychologist here. I could be way off, but I think there's something to this.
No, this is good.
This is good. But if this is your quarterback, you got to know what his love language is, and his love language is not competition. Floor is yours.
All right, let me say this first before I start on Carson Wentz. Just one question, yes or no. Did you see Megan Thee Stallion on Saturday Night Live? Did you see her on Saturday Night Live? I'm just wondering. She was on a few weeks ago.
You can say if you see. Did you see Megan Thee Stallion? Whatever. The answer is yes. My ears perked up when he said, I was hurt by that. That's an interesting admission to make. You know, it shows you that, you know, kings have hearts too. But B, it's like, it would have been easy for him to say, oh, I didn't pay attention to that. Or, you know what, that didn't bother me. Or, you know what, I wish Kyrie the best. We had a good run. You know, I don't get caught up in that kind of thing. But for him to be vulnerable and admit that hurt me, I think is purposeful in implicitly answering the question you just posed. Why did that hurt LeBron James? because LeBron James goes out of his way to bring out the best in everybody around him. LeBron James is ace from paid in full. Everybody eats, B. Okay, that's LeBron James's lifestyle. Okay, that's LeBron's lifestyle. We talk about Mamba mentality. LeBron's lifestyle is everybody eats, B. And LeBron even said it when Kyrie wanted out. It was like, I want to give the kid the championship DNA. Like, he bends over backwards trying to accommodate everybody else. Like, he's that rare superstar. If not, I don't know of anybody else that does it this way. We talked about this previously, Michael. I think it might have been with Vinny Goodwill. Most superstars, most best players in the world at their time, most kings, there is no room for everybody else to be great. You got to take a back seat. With LeBron James, not only are you in the front seat, you may drive sometimes. You could control the ways. You could pick the music. You could say, well, we stopping for food. Like with LeBron James, ask Anthony Davis.
I know, but see, I think,
ask Dwayne
and I think
Wade.
maybe, and I agree with like
you don't,
85
like
to 90% of what
Dwayne
you
Wade. All right, let me just make this last point real quick. Dwayne Wade, one of the best and most mature things Dwayne Wade ever did was acknowledge that if we're going to go somewhere as a Heat organization, this is your team.
That's right.
You gotta take control, because LeBron at that point was still deferring to Wade. But Wade was still brilliant with LeBron James at that stage of his career. Anthony Davis is still brilliant. You don't have to sacrifice with LeBron James when he's constantly feeding everybody. What did Kyrie have to sacrifice with LeBron James? He still had the second best-selling shoes in the NBA. He went to the finals and won for the first time in his career. So what do you disagree with what I'm saying?
Well, and you just brought up another one that kind of illustrates the point. Right. I agree. 90% of what you said. With LeBron, he's not the guy who says, I'm going to average 35. He could be the scoring champ every year. That's not his mission. I don't need to be the scoring champ. I know
he gets both. He gets 25 to 30 points a game, and is one of the leading assists.
And the assists.
Yeah.
And all that. Yeah. You can drive the car. But no, you ain't controlling ways. You can drive the car.
That's true. All right, I went too far with that. I went too far. Yes, I went too far.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But I think that's what it is.
I went too far with that part.
It's like with LeBron, he'll give it to you, but he's got it's got to be on his terms now. I'm controlling them.
Okay, but
you go get your shots.
I got you. You're right.
But your shots gonna come through me.
Let's stay there. Let's stay with this imagery. Okay, you're right. You're not controlling the ways. Well, but then again, maybe you are. When I say controlling the waves, I don't mean you're giving the direction. I mean, are we frozen? We good? Hold on.
Wait for it.
There we go. All right, you gotta wait for a little glitch in the matrix every now and then. I'm not saying that you decide where we're going or how we're gonna get there if you're LeBron James's sidekick. Waze is giving you the most efficient way. Waze lets you know where the cop's at. Waze lets you know where the pothole's at. Waze lets you know where the traffic jam is. Waze does, okay? LeBron James's way is the way. And if you follow LeBron James, everybody on this train or in this car, in this analogy, will get where they want to go. If you follow LeBron, you come along for the ride and you go into the finals. You want to go to the finals or you want to go home? It's really that simple.
Yeah.
And so, you might not be directing it, but he's taking you where you want to go anyway. So why are you complaining about him doing the driving? Kyrie Irving makes one of the biggest shots in NBA history to beat the Warriors to cap the 3-1 comeback. The game before that, he and LeBron went ballistic for like 40 points each. Ridiculous storyline in Game 6. You got to show out on the biggest stage because you rode shotgun with the king to get there. Like, Kyrie's legacy as a big shot maker was made in that moment. And he doesn't sniff that moment without LeBron James. We're talking about what have you done without LeBron? What have you done without Jordan? What has he done without LeBron James? What did he do before LeBron James? What's he done since? The Celtics got better in his absence.
That's right.
So Kyrie Irving,
you ain't lying.
I don't even know if Kyrie Irving feels this way. He just gives off the impression that he does. And maybe we're oversimplifying how he feels. But if Kyrie Irving has any kind of resentment or any kind of feeling of being shortchanged or not getting his props for what he did in Cleveland, then he really is on one. Then the world really is flat to him.
Yeah.
Because on the planet I live on, you got to the finals with LeBron, and your legacy was made in that series against Golden State. And you are a made man for life. You are clutch. You are more than just an individual brilliant performer because that guy helped you win. So Kyrie, if Kyrie's that out of his mind, then I don't know what to tell him. That's provocative. Gets the people going. That's a provocative question you just posed there, Michael. Very provocative question. Who would you rather have, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen right now? Wow. That is hard. That is really
What's the
hard.
answer?
Because it's like I don't want to be a victim of recency bias.
Look at those numbers.
He's a bona fide MVP, legit MVP candidate this year.
He was crushing it last night.
It's Rodgers, and I probably put him third right now. I probably put Josh Allen third right now, unless I'm missing somebody, or unless there's a glaring omission.
Russell, too many turnovers.
No, Russell, yeah, he's out of it. But no, I don't want to
Kyler Murray, too many losses.
Yeah, no, I'm delaying it. I don't want to, let me delay a little longer. All right, let's go to the rest of the quarterback class in the first round. It's not Baker Mayfield, despite his latest outing. It's definitely not Sam Darnold. It's for damn sure not Josh Rosen. So yeah, it's Lamar and Josh. I don't think I'm missing another. But just to be sure, because we're live here, are we missing
2018 draft class?
That's the first round. Are we missing any other quarterbacks from that class that I'm overlooking? I'm just trying to make sure
in that conversation.
Anybody else.
I don't think so.
Just that at least deserve mention as I continue to try to stall before I just answer the question.
You got to make a decision. You got to make a decision.
Just make a decision. Just make a decision.
Just make a decision. Make a decision. Make a decision.
Make a decision. Ain't that what you told me? Ain't that what you told me? You told me to.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
See, we said we were going to do that. See, because it's just like inside jokes. Inside jokes. Nobody really understands inside jokes.
Look, man, because you know what's taking me so long? You know what's taking me so long?
I'm going to go with Josh Allen. What?
It's okay. Because Josh Allen is so good. But, bruh, Lamar Jackson
was
and I'm sorry, we ain't that far removed from him having a season unlike any quarterback in the history of this game. I refuse to believe that he is regressing. You want to talk about Carson Wentz and making excuses for Carson Wentz, and I'm sorry, I don't mean, they were reasons, not excuses, they were reasons. You want to talk about giving all the reasons for Carson Wentz's regression. I mean, Lamar Jackson's offensive line has been decimated. Lamar Jackson doesn't have any receivers to speak of. Lamar Jackson has questionable play calling and game planning. Bro, there's never been a guy to play this position quite like Lamar Jackson, okay? In terms of his athleticism, his speed. He has some refinement to do it in the pocket, but and some growth there. The answer is Lamar Jackson.
So your answer is Lamar Jackson.
Josh Allen is making it difficult. He's making it difficult. That's why I stalled, because Josh Allen is that dude. He is that dude, no questions asked. But it's Lamar Jackson. You ask me who I'd rather have from the 2018 first round draft class, it's still Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen's there, but it's Lamar.
All right. So
Thank you for the question.
This is why you're hey, listen. That's why I'm here. But you said it that your description of Lamar Jackson makes the answer Josh Allen. Why? You said Lamar Jackson had a season unlike any we've seen in the NFL. Now, if he had done that again this year, if that's gonna be his standard, well, he wins all day. But it was
Yeah.
a season unlike any we've seen because I just don't think that's sustainable. What he did in 2019 is not sustainable. You can't do that. You can't expect that. Anybody expecting that, myself, anybody, that's foolish.
Let's talk about this cabinet that Joe Biden is putting together. Last time we had you on, we talked about various groups and their concerns that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were not appointing minorities to the highest level of their cabinets. And sure enough, we got retired Army General Lloyd Austin being nominated for Secretary of Defense. Marcia Fudge nominated for HUD Secretary. You're shaking your head. Is it because you don't see him going through confirmation, given that Democrats are already saying they don't want to make another exception for somebody who's less than 7 years retired from active duty, as is the rule? So you don't see Lloyd Austin making history here.
So there's a couple things. HUD, you had a great HUD secretary under the Obama administration who also ran for president. I think Julian Castro, the work he did about housing, the work he did for people coming out of incarceration for housing was absolutely amazing. It's nothing against Marcia Fudge, right? I would have preferred her to be Ag Secretary than Biden picking Vilsack. Ag Secretary also controls housing, also controls food stamps, a really, really important position when you're talking about the needs of Black people. Okay, Joe Biden decided he didn't want to go there. Lloyd Austin, it's the same sort of situation. We barely survived, right? We're still counting down the days till Trump's out of office. We barely survived 4 years of a President Trump who basically said the rules don't matter. I'm going to accept people to be judges who barely passed the bar. I'm going to put people in the administration who have no foreign policy experience. I'm going to give security clearances to members of my family who lied. All of this bit by bit, breaking down the rules to just put in who you want. That's what we have with this Secretary of Defense situation. It really matters. Now, look, you can make the argument, what's the difference between 4 years and 7 years? I agree. I don't think that you should be able to serve unless you've been out of the military for at least a decade. But the idea that this is supposed to be a restorative administration and the first big selection you make, you're already trying to bend the rules like the previous administration, that is a bad precedent to set. I think there's someone else they can find to fill that role since it has nothing to do with qualification.
Sure.
Jason, why don't we have more Republicans saying the obvious that Donald Trump lost the election?
Because they're a bunch of liars, and also because they're still afraid, right? This is this whole thing. They believe that Trump is like the political version of Omar is coming for years. They're like, oh, if I say something, Trump is coming. Omar is coming. And everybody got to hide. Everybody got to jump out a window. But he's not. He can't do anything
Walking
anymore.
down the street whistling.
Just whistling. And Cat's just running and everything. Full black coat in the 90-degree heat in the summer. Look, that's what everybody thinks Trump is. And they're afraid to admit the obvious. And here's the dumb part about it. Increasingly, and we see this in Georgia, you've got local people who are like, look, I counted it 4 times, 5 times. I used an abacus, a protractor, a Jenga board, a Ouija board. I've done everything possible. It is clear Donald Trump lost this particular state. So you have local Republicans who are being stepped on by national Republicans over something that is obvious to everybody. And these people, they're going to have egg on their faces on January 20th. Like I said, Trump going to go to the White House. His key card ain't going to work. He's going to try and have somebody else wave him in. They're going to say, yo, I can't really let you in no more. You don't really live here. He's going to go through that whole embarrassing process. He's going to try and sneak in with Uber Eats. It's not going to work. Get out of the White House. January 20th. Your job is done. The rest of the Republicans just object.
I'm Scottie Pippen. Kind of what he said there. I know I play with Jordan. I'm gonna be underrated. That's just a fact. I'm gonna be underrated. And I'm gonna go places. I'm gonna go places that I probably couldn't have gone with anybody else. My greatness will be minimized to a degree because I play with Jordan. I'll get some credit for being alongside Jordan those championship years, but overall, me, the individual, I'm not gonna get my props. Most people won't realize it, but I'll tell you who will realize it. A guy I played with named Michael Jordan. He knows what I did for him. A guy I played for, Phil Jackson, he knows. And other people won't know, but Jordan should know. And the fact that Jordan Kind of, he did, Mike. He did. Scotty's right. He did make it about him. It wasn't the last dance of the Chicago Bulls. It was Michael Jordan's yet another addendum, yet another postscript for Michael Jordan to tell you what you saw. Even though you saw it, I'm going to tell you what you really saw. And it was all about me. It was about Jordan. And that's disappointing. I would be disappointed.
Who else should it have been about? Like, I mean, stop. Stop.
What was it billed as? What was it billed as?
The 96 Bulls, or 98, excuse me, the 98 Bulls
it
in
wasn't
their
about
last.
That.
Michael.
Kind of start off like that.
Michael.
Come on.
Michael.
Okay, good.
No, I'm not going to come on. I'm not going here with you. There is no there. I sat here and I listened to all of that, and respectfully, I'm listening to Scottie Pippen. I'm like, Scottie, save it, okay? This is his lot in life, and it ain't so bad, okay? Number one, Scottie Pippen was named to the 50 greatest players in NBA history list. Scottie Pippen, okay, he's still on it. If you want to update it, he's still on it. Scottie Pippen is the patron saint of sidekicks. Scottie Pippen is if you look up, I'm not going to do that. Scottie Pippen is the definition of the ideal wingman, okay? Everybody who knows anything about basketball, even in casual basketball. No, I'm not being dismissive. Hold on. I'm not being dismissive. Anybody, I'm not being dismissive. To the greatest player ever? Sorry, somebody gotta be. To the greatest player ever. Sorry, okay? What's insulting about that? What's insulting about being the second greatest player on the team that includes the greatest player ever? Come on, man. We gotta know thyself.
Go ahead.
That was Aristotle, now. Socrates, somebody. Look, know thyself.
Oh, wait,
Scottie Pippen.
Different.
What?
Aristotle, Socrates, that's different.
I know it's two different people,
Robin.
but I'm.
Go ahead, call him Robin. Call him.
Robin saved the day sometimes. Robin saved the day. Okay?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's okay. Somebody has got to be. Hey, man, you got to be my sidekick. It ain't that bad, is it? You know, it's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with it, right? You still get your shots. You're still on TV, right? You understand? Come on now. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it a buck. Let's get
Cut his mic. Watch, your camera gonna go out any moment.
But I'm serious. No, but seriously, all jokes aside, let's get back to Scottie Pippen, though. I love
all right,
it.
Let's go. Back to Scottie. Back to Scottie.
Yeah,
stay focused.
For real. Yeah, Scottie. Listen, man. There's an opportunity to be celebrated if you're underrated. Like, everybody who knows anything about basketball, even casual fans, know that Michael Jordan didn't win anything without Scottie Pippen. They know that as great a defender as Michael, he didn't.
I know he didn't, but
he wouldn't have won anything without Scottie Pippen. And as great a defender as Michael Jordan was, as great a defender, everybody knows that, especially after the last
Everybody
dance.
does know that.
And as great a defender as Michael Jordan was, everybody who knows anything about basketball knows that the better defender was 33, not 23. As great as Jordan was. So, I mean, those that know, and that which is understood need not be explained. And so if Scottie is looking, first of all, I'm kind of in this business a little bit, so I'm speaking from a little bit of experience. I'm in this business just a little bit. The business of selling content, of making documentaries and selling it. Ain't nobody buying a Scottie Pippen documentary, with all due respect.
Right.
Ain't nobody checking for a Scottie Pippen documentary. A Scottie Pippen documentary is not appointment viewing. A Michael Jordan documentary is.
Okay.
He's the headliner.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with being Morris Day to his Prince. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Nobody's arguing. That's not the argument. Don't change the argument.
And guess what? You know who came out looking great in The Last Dance? Scottie Pippen.
It wasn't Scottie Pippen. No, he didn't.
Yes, it was.
No, he did not. He obviously doesn't agree with that. He doesn't think so. He was just.
I'm telling him as a viewer that everybody was sympathetic to how he got screwed over contractually. And you know who looked bad in The Last Dance? Was Michael Jordan, for even in hindsight, not taking up for Scottie Pippen and understanding how underpaid Scottie Pippen was.
Funny that you
Scottie Pippen was a sympathetic figure in this documentary. I know we're getting close to the holidays, Michael Holley, but James Harden out here making Christmas lists. You know? Like, he's like, I want the Nets. I want the Sixers. I want the Bucks. I want the Heat. I want a PS5. I want the Jubilee 11s. I want a Louis bag. I want some honey buns. You know, it's like I want a unicorn. I want a pony. It's like, are you kidding me? You know,
right.
It's like, I like to be pimps from Oakland and cowboys from Arizona. But it's not Halloween. Grow up, Peter Pan, Count Chocula. Like, what do you think this is, man? Like, nobody cares about your wishes. Nobody cares about your preferences. See, the problem is James Harden, and there's another report out there, I think it's from Tim McMahon. He talked to a former Rocket staffer, Michael. And the Rocket staffer said, this is the first time James Harden has been told no, so he's going to act up. Sound like a spoiled child. You know, then
no, sound like somebody else. Sound like somebody else should know.
He wanted Ty Lue. Speaking of Ty Lue, he wanted Ty Lue, but they ended up with Stephen Silas as a compromise. Okay, so he's been rejected a couple of times by the Rockets. So he and his feelings about this. And I'm like, yo, man, you know when you make lists of destinations, you know, lists come with leverage. And yeah, you're the superstar. Yeah, you're the face of the franchise. But most people have preferred trade destination lists when they're free agents, not when they sign a long-term contract and they have 2 years left plus an option. Or at least if you're not a free agent, you're going into your walk year and you could exert some type of authority. I'm here to tell James Harden, bro, you stuck like Chuck because those contenders you want, guess what? They got to be contenders by expending most of their assets. What do the Bucks have to trade that the Rockets would want? The Nets aren't going to come up with a deal that includes Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. This just in. Breaking news. Why would the Miami Heat, with the culture that they've established down there, why on earth would Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra mortgage their future in a potential shot at Giannis Antetokounmpo in order to get James Harden down to Miami? And last but not least, the Sixers, you talked about this yesterday. Doc and Daryl Morey ain't trying to have them problems with their new team in a new situation. So you stuck like Chuck, brother. Sorry to tell you. Take your Christmas list, take your wish list, and go somewhere with it. You know, like we gotta grow up at a certain point. Like this is getting out of hand for me. As you know, I'm annoyed by this, but every day is something else that kind of grinds my gears with this story.
I'm going to make this very simple. This is simple, and you already gave it to me. You gave me a nice little contrast, nice little split screen that I was looking for. So here's a nice split screen. You mentioned the Miami Heat and the Houston Rockets. So let's just say they're the home. There's the Miami home, and there's the Houston home. You know why the kids are spoiled? Because the household allows it. The household allows it. Like, you're not going to come here talking like this. That's why I get into it with my little nephew all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
I don't know how I work in your house.
You ain't going to do that here. You're not doing that here. Okay, now you can steam all you want.
As for me in my house.
That's right. That's right, Joshua. As for me in my house, this is what we going to do. But look.
Right.
So, look, remember this? When LeBron first got to Miami, and they started off 9-8, I believe it was?
Yes.
And people were talking about, what's going on? Is Eric Spoelstra going to be out? Is LeBron? And there was like a clip of LeBron walking by Spoelstra and giving a little. People were wondering if the bump was intentional or not, if he was disrespecting him. And Pat Riley was like, no. You know what? Eric Spoelstra is the coach of this team. Pat Riley is the president of this team. This is what it is. I'm not changing coaches.
I'm the boss, and this is how it's going to be. Yeah, absolutely.
This is how it's going to be. And they figured it out, and, they went to the final, went to 4 finals in 4 years. Great.
Yeah.
Houston, you can't complain about the spoiled kid because you spoiled him. You brought him up. You allowed him. He had those lists. There's like 25 items on the list, and they said, okay.
Got them all.
Yep.
Got them all.
Yep. We'll try. They never said no.
I got you. Because I've had this issue. Admittedly, my wife overdoes it for Christmas. She overdoes it.
I like that. Overdoing it. Santa overdoes it.
Santa overdoes it.
Come on, Santa.
Santa and my wife, they all overdo it for Christmas. They all overdo it, okay? And it's to the point, you ever I'm sorry, this first world problems, but nonetheless, it's like, you ever see a kid open the gift and they open it real fast and they just leave it there and they move on to the next one? And then it's like, what else? It's like, what else? You know, it's like,
What else?
They just keep going and they just moving fast. And it's just like a bunch of stuff around. There's so much stuff, it's like sensory overload until they can't really appreciate it. And then they might gravitate to one thing for a minute, and then a week later, you never hear it anymore. Like, what happened to the thing I got you for Christmas?
Yeah, what happened
It's
to
like,
that?
wait a second. Yeah, you know, and that's James Harden right now. It's like, you know, he's like a kid with toys. It's like, okay, I got Dwight Howard, or I'm done playing with Dwight Howard. Okay, now I got to play, you know, with Chris Paul. I'm done playing with Chris Paul. Well, now I got to play with Russell Westbrook. It's like, well, I don't want Russell Westbrook no more. Now I got to play with John Wall. Well, I don't really want John Wall. I want something else. I want to go I want to go play with Kyrie Irving. I want to go play with Kevin Durant. He's like, sit down somewhere. Just sit down somewhere. Go sit down.
And you know what that kid says? And that kid pouts like, oh, you never let me have nothing. We gave you everything. What are you talking about? We gave you everything. It's not good enough for you.
What did you do? So I'm gonna give a warning, okay, to our viewers, because if you haven't seen this viral video on the internet, it's disturbing, to say the least. So just fair warning. It's shocking, but we're gonna show you video of Alexis Cobb. He's a so-called coach.
Wow.
Not once.
Wow.
But twice does he strike a 9-year-old.
Oh.
A 9-year-old child. Here's a second time. There we go.
Sickening.
A 9-year-old child or a member of the Savannah Gators. This was a youth football national championship in Kissimmee, Florida, that this so-called coach,
Look at the
Alexis
people around
Cobb.
him.
Yeah.
This is where we are.
We're going to get to them in a second. We're going to get to them in a second. We're going to get to them in just a second. That's not his child. Not that it being his child would make it any better, but just, you know, that's not his child. Here was this so-called coach's so-called apology.
Everybody done seen the video, and everyone have something negative to say. You know, I'm gonna apologize for my actions about what took place, but at the end of the day, I am a man, and I'm not gonna make no excuses for what I did. I was wrong. I shouldn't have disciplined him in public. I should have waited till we got back for doing what he did. At the end of the day, I apologize to him, the kids, the city down here, and my family back at home. I do apologize. There's no excuse for my actions, you know. I hope, well, he forgave me, and his parents have forgiven me, so nobody else should be bashing me. Thank you.
Nah, player, it ain't that simple. I wish we'd have let it run a little longer, because at the end, he looks like, okay, are we done? Like if you see the whole clip, it's like, are we done? Is that good enough for y'all? Like, it comes across not only as insincere, disingenuous, it comes across like, yo, what do y'all want from me? All right, I messed up, I'm sorry. You know, okay, fine. Yeah, did I offend it? I'm sorry to the people I offended. That's what, you know.
He said
the parents
discipline in
forgave
public.
Me. Oh, that's
he said discipline in public.
Bro, in private, he'd probably be still hitting the poor child if they were in private. Public, private, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there's a lot of things wrong with this, but to unpack this, let's start with this. Because this has been everybody's universal reaction, and I'm racking my brain, because I'm assuming, we don't see the angle, we don't see the stands, we don't see who was there, but I'm assuming when he turned around and he was yelling, I'm going to hope that he was yelling at somebody who was trying to tell him to leave that poor child alone. I'm hoping that that's what he was saying, because I find it hard to believe that there were people, adults in the stands watching this that weren't as appalled as the rest of us are watching this online or watching it just now. I'd like to think, like, say, bro, he'd have got a 2-piece and a biscuit with rice and fries from me or you if we'd have been there. I would like to think that I would have done something, that I'd have went and confronted him, if not beat the piss out of him.
Yeah,
on
confront him.
Site.
Or
and this is not. And I'm not trying, Michael. I'm not trying to be a TV tough guy. I ain't trying to be a TV tough guy right now. I don't know, dude. But what I do know is that's a helpless child, and that's not coaching. That's not disciplining. That's not what that is. That's abuse. That's assault. He should be reprimanded. He goes back. Yes, he should be reprimanded. if not prosecuted, and definitely disciplined himself, should never see a football field. So what do I want? More than an apology. I don't care if the parents are forgiving you. Maybe the parents got an issue.
And you know what?
Maybe
And I'm
the
not
parents
sure.
that you're talking to.
Why are we taking his word for it? Why are we taking his word for it that the parents have forgiven him, and so everybody else stay out my business? I haven't heard from the parents. What are the parents? What have they said to him? It could be, hey, I have to forgive you because I need to forgive you, or otherwise I'm gonna wring your neck, or I'm gonna forgive you, but hey, stay away from me. I don't know what they said.
Bro, I'm not a helicopter parent, but like I'm not asking questions. You touch my child like that, I'm diving on you. Like that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. There's
That's not tough coaching. That's not instruction. That's not teaching. And I want to know why they didn't do it. Okay, they didn't do it. And it's funny how it's kind of, you said we're pivoting, but we're really not pivoting.
From one set of cowards to another set of cowards. That's what I was going with this.
But look at the theme here. Look at the common denominator. Yeah. How do you stand around, right, and let this happen when you can do something to stop it?
We talk a lot about Prince, about Stevie Wonder, about John Coltrane, who we have a shared love for, Bob Marley, greatest frontman of all time, James Brown. We talk about music all the time. The most important musical act to me in my life is Frankie Beverly and Maze, or Maze featuring Frankie.
Why is that? Why?
It's not just that I've grown up on it. It's not just that I was raised on this band and this man. It's that they may hail from Philadelphia, but New Orleans has a different kind of connection. That's me and my wife went to a concert at one of the casinos in Connecticut a couple years back.
Oh, I love the pose. Look at the pose.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it was everything. Everybody except for us was dressed in white. I mean, it was all the players, all the hustlers was out there. It was incredible night. And you've never been to a concert. I mean, Pearl Jam is similar, but when you can hear, when the crowd is singing with Frankie, it's nothing like it. The energy, he is the soundtrack to the cookout. I love Beyonce to death.
Thank you.
To death.
It is.
But I'm bothered by her remaking Before I Let Go. I just am,
Don't do that.
Go ahead.
You shouldn't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not trying to slander Beyonce, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying like Beyonce's got her whole thing. Like she shouldn't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, gotcha.
She shouldn't be. She shouldn't be messing with that. That's not. No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
But so when it comes on, I get upset.
He is the soundtrack to the cookout. And one thing I like about Frankie Beverly is that either it's one or the other. He's either a great listener, an exceptional listener, or he has been through some things. Like when he starts singing about love, that's a man.
Throw on my list right quick. Throw on my list.
Who has longed for love, who has lost love. And how about
Mike,
you
what you
try
think
to
of my
call me
list?
out? Hey, man, I like it. You try to call me out, though. You should tell people, you tried to call me out on number 3 when I was humming it earlier. You said like,
oh, yeah, because so While I'm Alone, by the way, this was really hard for me to narrow my favorite Frankie Beverly and Maze songs down to 5. While I'm Alone, earlier you were like, that's not how it goes. Don't you ever do that again. We would be remiss if we left this show today without recognizing history being made in the form of Rashida Jones being named the next president of MSNBC. She will take over on February 1st. Currently, she is a senior vice president at NBC News and MSNBC. She leads the breaking news and major events coverage. She oversees the daytime and weekend programming. It's the station I watch more than any other. She will become the first black woman to take charge of a major television news network and the most prominent black woman in the cable news industry. Glory, hallelujah. What an incredible accomplishment. I mean, this is huge. This is major. In a year in which we have a black woman as vice president, a woman as vice president, we have a black woman, and this is Dorothy Tugger, the president of NABJ. Her promotion is bigger than our industry. It's the kind of story black and brown children everywhere need to see so they can know what's possible. A resounding congrats, and NABJ congrats to our own Rashida Jones. Michael, I am trying to transition professionally into being more influential behind the camera. A lot of us are talent, but the next frontier is for us to be running things, not things, things. Shout out to Sister Rashida Jones for running things over at MSNBC.
And not only that, but also being rewarded for what she's done throughout her career. It's not like, you know, she just came up and I'll be the president of MSNBC, or like she came from another industry. She's been doing this in this business for quite a while. So I'm glad to see her get the credit that she deserves